What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of FBOMB. Right now I'm going to be doing my oil change, transmission fluid change, and my primary change. It's going to be a 3-part video. First thing we're going to be doing the oil change. Tools you're going to need so far is going to be socket wrench, and I got this guy. This is my adjustable socket. It's good for a 1/4 to a 3/4 or a 7mm to a 19mm, so no matter what, it's gonna fit. And as far as oil goes, I'm using the Redline 20W50. You're gonna need 4 quarts of those, and the 117 K&N oil filter. You can get the Harley oil and the Harley filter if you want. I just like K&N because it's got that little bolt on top, easy to remove. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and drain this oil. Now the oil drain plug that you want to get to is directly underneath, all the way at the end right here. So that is the one you want to loosen up. But be careful because that oil is going to spill out quick. I do recommend letting the bike sit for a couple hours at least, because that oil is going to be hot. Duh. Now you just want to get it loosened enough so you can remove it with your hand, just a little bit. And this is the 5,000 mile change. I've already done my first 1,000 mile change. So technically this is a 4,000 mile change, but better sooner than later. I'm going to get that underneath there. It might be a little bit difficult to get on camera, but I'll try my best. Hopefully this bowl's big enough. I usually use a baking foil container or bowl that you get at like the grocery store, because you can just throw it away when you're done with it. But I ran into this oil pan filter or oil pan, and I thought, oh, let me just buy one of those. And it just doesn't fit. All right, so we got the bolt off. Put that right there for now. And it's gonna collect all that oil, and I hope it doesn't overfill, because if it does, then we're screwed. Clean this bad boy up. On the end of right here is actually magnets, and don't see any metal shavings on there, so that's a good thing. And I'm not doing it, but they do recommend that you replace this gasket every time you do it. I'll do it next time, but right now I just didn't buy them, so I'm not going to. But yeah, if you are doing an oil change, transmission change, primary change, anything to do with gaskets, make sure you replace those gaskets. So I was gonna wait for that to drain completely, seal it back up, and then fill it up with oil. Alright, so next we're going to work on getting off the oil filter. I have a K&N oil filter on there right now, so it's going to be a 17mm, but again, I'm using my fancy socket, so I don't have to go search for a 17mm. And right now what I did, I put aluminum foil on the bottom, as deep back there as I can. And the plan, or the goal, is for that oil just to drain into that oil pan. So we're going to see how well this works. Because once you loosen up this oil filter, oil is going to spill everywhere. So we're going to see how well this thing works. Harley does sell a funnel that does this, but I've heard mixed reviews about it, saying it's only going to take about 80% of that oil. It's still going to make a mess, but we're going to see if we can do better than that for free. Wow, would you look at that? I don't think I got any oil on the bike. You can get back there and zoom. I don't see any oil get on the bike. I got that foil back there pretty good, so I'd say that worked pretty well. I was expecting the oil to be sliding down here, but it didn't, thankfully. Alright, so we got the new oil filter. It does come with plastic on it. I'm going to remove the plastic, inspect it, make sure it's not damaged or anything. They do recommend that you seal the gasket with oil around there. They say you can fill it up with oil, but realistically you're going to lose a lot more oil trying to put it on there like that, so don't really worry about doing that. I'm going to go ahead and put this bad boy on there. Now they do recommend that when you tighten this thing down, that once the rubber is touching, so right now it's touching, they want you to go about a half a turn to 3/4 turn, and no more than that, because once this guy is on the bike and running and oil is flushing through it, it's gonna automatically build pressure and it's gonna tighten for you pretty much. I'm gonna remove this. And would you look at that? There is no oil mess to clean up right there. All right, so we're gonna check on our oil drainage and see if we can go ahead and seal that up and fill her up with the 20W40. All right, so she is completely drained, not dripping at all. So we're gonna go ahead and take this drain plug. We're gonna give this a good clean. Make sure there's no rocks or debris on it. Finger tighten it. Finger. All right, get rid of this. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that boy down. Now there are specs to this, as far as like torque specs. I've done so many oil changes, I pretty much know how tight to make them. But if you are unfamiliar, just go ahead and look in the Harley manual. They should have all the torque specs on there. There we go. All right. So now that that bad boy's done, you're gonna have this little drain plug right here. I'm gonna remove that. Well, it doesn't look too bad. Handy dandy funnel, and we're gonna start pouring oil into that bitch. Just make sure you don't lose any of this oil. Pour it in there nice and slow. And we're gonna go ahead and fast forward to the last quart, because there's no need in you watching me putting in 4 quarts of oil. All right, so that is the last of the 4 quarts. And take your little rag or whatever you got to keep clean. Put that underneath the exhaust, in between the exhaust. Try to catch. There we go. No mess. And we're gonna take our drain plug. No drain plug, dipstick. Gonna clean it off with our rag so it's completely clean. Throw it in there, and we're gonna take it out and check our level, and it is perfect. It's exactly where it needs to be. All right, that is the oil change on the 21 Street Bob. Very, very simple. Probably the easiest thing you have to do to maintain this bike. Next up, we're going to be doing the primary casing change, the oil change, and but that's going to be in part 2. So make sure you guys watch that video next. All right, guys, peace.